Hey, how's it going? My name is Nate, and I'm back to show you some of the charts on my watch list and attempt to break down the technical analysis on each one as quickly and cleanly as possible. The first stock I'm going to be looking at is, of course, the SPY. In yesterday's video, we talked about a daily close under the 411 area was going to be a pivotal point, and today we got exactly that. The SPY ended up closing at 410.25 and now in the bottom half of this range. At this point, the bull thesis is kind of dead until we can get a daily close above the 411 to, let's say, about 412 level on this volume shelf. The more likely next move is going to be a gap fill down to this 407.24 level. But I would still be on the lookout for this 408.64 as we could see a bounce there first. A break below this level, all eyes to me are going to be down here on this gap fill at 407, and then we'll just have to reassess and see what happens from there. Up next is the Qs. Initially, the Qs showed a promising day, but the SPY ended up pulling us back quite a bit. Now, one important thing I would like to note from yesterday's video is we did not get that close above the 327.50, and we also closed inside of this rising wedge, so no breakout just yet. I'm looking at the 328 level to be a key level for tomorrow for a close above that level and potentially coming up here to the 331 to 337 area. And on the downside, I would just be looking down here at about 323.50 or so. A close above or below either of these levels is going to determine what happens next. So that's what I'll be looking for. Now we'll take a brief look at IWM. You can see that we rejected off of this descending resistance line, but we didn't quite get that close beneath the 172.16 level that we talked about in yesterday's video. However, you can see that there was a little bit of a mini triangle that was starting to set up here, and we actually closed beneath that level. So my feeling is that we'll head back down here to the 168s. Somewhere in here is what we'd be looking for. But first, we got to clear out this actual gap fill, and I'd be watching this 172.16 for just a little bit of resistance still. As for Apple, we did pretty much nothing today. We're still sitting inside this rising trend line, but we didn't break underneath this 171.60 level, at least not yet. So this level 171.60 to 174 is going to be the key levels to watch. A daily close above or below these levels is going to determine which direction we go next. Until then, I probably wouldn't do a whole lot. NVDA made a nice push, and I was able to sell the calls that I swung overnight for a total of 83%. So I was pretty happy with that. One of the other traders in our Discord, the Caveman Discord, I think got maybe up to like 300 or 400% on hers. Pretty sure she got in before I did, and I think she held longer than I did on her runners. So congratulations to her. Her name is Jenny. Definitely go check her out if you guys haven't yet. So price did try to run up to this 300 level that we talked about yesterday, but ended up closing just beneath this breakout level that we had notated and ultimately closed inside of this wedge. So this shows me a bit of weakness, to be honest. Tomorrow, I'd still be watching a breakout above this 292.20 level. And for a push up to maybe let's call it about 296 and maybe a retest up to 300 if there's some strength, but a break under we'll call it about, actually I would say up here at about 288 288.30 or so, 288.50, somewhere in there I would be looking for to buy some puts, and I would be looking to ride those puts down to about 280.50 or so. Now, Amazon gave a really nice scalp play up to the gap fill. I was actually able to grab some calls when price broke above the level that we talked about yesterday, which was 113.28. I think I bought somewhere up here. Price ended up coming back down, so I had a pretty rough entry, to be honest with you. I was late, but we did end up getting the gap fill, and I think I took somewhere between like 40 to 50% on my calls, so I was pretty happy with that. Now, as we get up here, I'm starting to see a little bit of potential resistance, so I feel like downside is the more probable bet. But if we do get a bounce off of this same level tomorrow, kind of similar of what we saw today, I'd be looking at potentially going up to retest this same level that we had for today, or potentially maybe getting a little bit above, but I just don't see a whole lot of room for this to go up at the time being. So I'd be looking for more downside. I personally wouldn't be looking at buying puts off of this level. I would be more interested in getting puts down here once it gets underneath this 109.72 or so. That's going to be your supply demand zone. That's this purple level. Reason being for that is you can come down here and just kind of flutter around, because this is a well, now acting as a demand zone. So if you want to try to get this gap fill, you first have to break through this level. So that's how I'd be looking at that. So that brings me to Microsoft. Now, as long as the market doesn't completely die on us, I like a potential trade here on Microsoft. We have a decent triangle setting up, and a break above this level here at about 313. I think we would see a test of the highs from back here in 2020. On the downside, I'd be looking for a break underneath this triangle, which would come at about 308.70, and the target would be just the lows down here at 303.40. As for Tesla, I'm looking to see if we can get a bounce off of this demand zone at about 164.55. A daily close below this level would kill any long thesis that I'd have, but on the upside, I'm still looking for a gap fill up here because it didn't quite get that on Friday, and that level is 177.65. Under 164.55, I'm just looking for a gap fill down here to 162.95, and then I would be eyeing probably down at this level at 158.83. For Enphase, well, it got smacked pretty hard today, and that's actually a scenario that we had talked about. I tried to get puts when price broke beneath this 164.45 level, but I didn't get filled. So at that point, I just would have been chasing and I stayed out. It's not really a great play anymore from a risk to reward scenario. So personally, I'm not looking to trade this. If you're in it, congratulations. I would say on the downside, I'd be looking at 159.06 as my target. But for now, I'm just going to let this one go and see if we get a better setup here in the next coming days or weeks. The last stock I'll be looking at tonight is Google. Google had a really nice move today. It was a very strong stock overall. We are now above the demand zone that we had been sitting just below for the past couple days. So for tomorrow, I'd be liking a retest of this level here at 119.87. If we go down to I think it's the 1 hour chart, you can see how this was just kind of a good level. So I'd be liking to see a bounce off that level, or potentially coming down here to this demand zone, which is at 119.38. Now on the upside target, I would just be looking back here at your August 2022 highs, and that would put you at 123.26. There's also a little bit of a demand zone here to be on the lookout, supply or demand zone. So I would be looking out for that as a potential target. And I think that's a wrap for me. So if you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button. If you would also like to see more content like this in the future, please definitely subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I really do appreciate that. Also check out the Caveman Alert Discord and the website for some more trade ideas and resources. Like I mentioned earlier, we have some really solid traders over there, and they've personally helped me grow as a trader. So definitely check that out in the link below. All right, take it easy.